Hello. Today we'll go over a lesson which was there in the second PU English textbook of 2006-2007. Uh, the title of the lesson is The Broker, and it's by the author Swaroop Kishan. So uh, it says, I'm a well-known broker in the cattle business. A load of lies on my head and nectar on my tongue. So the hero of the story is a broker in the cattle business. Cattle, of course, means oxen, bullocks, cows, sheep, goat, and he is a broker. That is, he is a middleman. If there is a seller who wants to sell an animal, the broker, he acts as a middleman and he finds a buyer for the animal. So he is quite famous in that area, he is well known in that area. So he is a well known broker in the cattle business. But how does he operate? It says he has a load of lies on his head and nectar on his tongue. So primarily his way of brokering a deal is by telling lies. So these lies go round and round in his mind. As they say in Kannada, Papa Sutkandide, Sullero Papa Sutkandide Antale Mele. So he has a load of lies on his head and nectar on his tongue. But how does he lie to the customers? He lies very sweetly. He has nectar on his tongue. Nectar is a sweet liquid. So he tells lies very sweetly so that the customers believe him. I assist cattle traders in their deals. And as a result, those of this area have a lot of regard for me. So he assists people who want to buy and sell cattle in their deals. And because he does this seemingly useful work, the people of that area have a lot of regard for him. As soon as people spot me, they take me to the tea shop and say, "Chai dawe wala, make tea for two." So as soon as people spot Tansuk, they want to be seen with him, they want to be in his good books. So they take him to the nearest tea shop and they tell the dabewala, that is the owner of the tea shop, to make tea for two. They want to be in the good books of Tansuk. So, seeing me, the owner of the tea shop eagerly asks, "What's on these days, Tansuk?" So when the owner of the tea shop sees the broker, the name of the broker is Tansuk. The owner of the tea shop, the dabewala, asks him, "What's on these days? What deals are you involved in, Tansuk?" To show that he knows me well. So the dabewala, the chaiwala, the people of that area want to be friends with Tansuk. They want to be in his good books. It's a different matter that sometimes I'm unable to place that man. So all the people of the area know Tansuk, the cattle broker, but whenever he, that is Tansuk, meets them by chance, he is unable to recognize them. He is unable to place either the dabewala or many others of the village. I keep moving from one cattle fair to another. What else does a cattle broker do? Fairs are held somewhere or the other all the year round, and they are the source of my income. So, How does Tansuk earn his income? He goes from one cattle fair to the other, and cattle fairs are held somewhere or the other all the year round, and they are the source of his income. I have already told you I tell a lot of lies. It quite suits my lips. So lying comes naturally to Tansuk. It suits him. I can get the most useless cattle sold in broad daylight. So you may have a cow whose ribs are showing through its skin. That is, it's not been well fed. It is on its last legs. And the buyer may see this in broad daylight. He may see every visible fault in the animal. But Tansuk lies so well that the cattle dealer is fooled into buying the animal. And it continues, or keep even a gem of an animal tethered to the stake. If there is a very healthy animal, a very robust and strong animal, Tansuk will ensure that it is kept tied to the stake. A stake is a wooden pole driven into the ground to tie cattle to. So he keeps very healthy animals from being sold, and he ensures that useless animals are sold. It takes me no time to turn a pearl to a pebble or the other way around. It takes him no time to make a useless cat to sell a useless cattle or keep a healthy animal tied to the stake. He can turn a pearl to a pebble. Pebble is a small piece of stone, a worthless object. He can turn something of value into something worthless, and something which is worthless into something valuable. I know such tricks that the buyer mistakes the iron lying in front of him. I know such tricks that the buyer mistakes the iron lying in front of him to be gold. So he can speak so convincingly that the buyer mistakes something which is common, like a bar of iron. He mistakes it to be gold. It's not that I fool the buyer alone. I hoodwink the seller too. So he doesn't cheat only the buyer, he also hoodwinks or cheats the seller. I cast such a spell that the animal is unable to move from the tether. When Tansuk starts to speak, he casts such a spell on his customers that even the animal is spellbound and does not move from the rope which it is tied to, cannot move from the tether. Some owners sit through fairs, rubbing their eyes and yawning. To these, I make buyers as scarce as the new moon. So some farmers who come to sell cattle, they are lazy. They lie down in the shade of a tree. They rub their eyes and yawn. And to these sort of farmers, he makes buyers as scarce as the new moon. A new moon comes once in a while, so he makes buyers as scarce as the new moon. They say, how do you find such things, Tansuk? Is the wretched one worth anything at all? So the sellers, the farmers who want to sell their cattle, believe Tansuk when he starts describing a healthy animal, and they describe their own animals as wretched creatures, and they wonder if they'll get any money if they sell it. I'll reduce the price if you say so. So they agree to give the animal, sell the animal at a loss. What I mean is that I know how to manipulate people, says Tansuk. So he knows how to manipulate people. After all, I'm Tansuk the broker. I know well that mine is not a good job. All day one has to cheat the innocent. So from morning till evening he cheats the innocent. I do realize that a lie is the lowest form of sin, he says, but I have to resort to it for the sake of my livelihood. So why does he lie so much? For the sake of his livelihood, for his stomach. And there is no other way I can earn my living. Neither land nor property have I. So he cannot earn from an income, and from land he doesn't have any property to rent. So he doesn't have any other source of income except cattle brokering, and the only way he can earn a commission from buying and selling cattle is to lie. Even though he knows that a lie is the lowest form of sin. I know well, I know that the word broker evokes contempt. So if people know he's a broker, they become contemptuous. And a broker gets no respect in society. But I am helpless. And I was not boasting of my cleverness earlier. I'm only describing how skilled I am in my brutality. So he's not boasting earlier, he's only describing how skilled he is in his brutality or cruelty of cheating people. This incident took place one summer evening. I had just returned home and was lying on a charpai beside the entrance to my house. So he returned home one summer evening and is lying on a string bed called a charpai next to the entrance to his house. I, I couldn't get a wink of sleep as some sparrows were creating a racket above my head. Some sparrows had flown into his house and they were singing, chirping, and they're creating noise. They're creating a racket. So he couldn't even close his eyes for a second. He couldn't get a wink of sleep. Just then, I noticed that the plaster on the ceiling had worn out and the peelings, flapping loosely, seemed to be vying with one another to suddenly descend on me. So just then he noticed that the plaster on the ceiling, the cement on the ceiling had peeled and they were hanging by small, you know, they were hanging from the ceiling and the wind was blowing them to and fro. And these pieces of plaster seemed to be vying or competing with each other to suddenly fall on Tansuk's head. The decayed thatch of the roof was a reminder of approaching old age. So thatch is something like coconut fronds, coconut leaves, which is used to cover the roof of a house. So that thatch was decayed, and he was reminded of his own approaching old age. The holes made by the birds all over the ceiling spoke of the emptiness of his life. So the birds had built holes in the had built nests in the thatch, and these nests symbolize the emptiness of his life. The holes in the ceiling symbolize how empty his life is. Mine turned to taking account of how much I had lied and sinned. So he remembers how much he had lied and sinned in his house, how many sick cattle had got sold in exchange for hard-earned money. So he had got useless animals, sick animals, sold for hard-earned money, and how many good ones for next to nothing. How many any healthy animals he had got sold for almost no, or for very little money. How many sins had I committed for the sake of this stomach, which even after all that was empty. So it committed many sins, and it had done it for the sake of his stomach. He wanted to earn a meal, and even after all his efforts of lying, cheating, etc. in life, his stomach was empty. I was still thinking of the past when I was abruptly pulled back into the present by a visitor. So his mind was still going on over his past no, mistakes when suddenly he's pulled back into the present by a visitor. The visitor says, Ram Ram Sa, Ram Ram Sir. Ram Ram is a way of greeting. Ram Ram Bhai, I said. You're Thansuk, aren't you? Yes. I need to buy a buffalo, he said as he sat on the charpai near my feet. So the visitor wants to buy a buffalo and he sits on the at the feet of the charpai near Tansuk's feet. So Tansuk describes him, says he was old, 60 or so. So that he was a broken man was evident from his face. That the old man had seen a lot of problems in life, it was evident from his face. It immediately struck me that here was a wonderful opportunity to wash off all my sins. So it immediately came to Tansuk's mind that he can do a good deed for this old man and he'll be washed, absolved of all his sins. I could do that by getting a good animal for this needy, troubled person. So if he gets a good animal for this old man, then all his sins will be absolved and he'll be free from so many sins. He drank some water. Did you hear what I said? He began again. Yes, I did. Have you seen one that you want? Yes. If only you could get it settled. If only you could broker the deal. Where is it? Actually, it's just here. It's close by, says the old man. There is this Kashi Regar who lives in your neighborhood. So Kashi Regar is a neighbor of Tansuk and he has a buffalo. On hearing the name of Kashi, a poverty-stricken house and an innocent face flashed before my eyes. So the innocent face of Kashi came to Tansuk's mind. I saw his wife languishing with cancer. Kashi Rega's wife was on her last leg. She was languishing with cancer. Her infant children start staring into her face. So Kashi and his wife have a few children, and those children want some things from their mother, and they sit next to her, even though she's suffering from cancer, and the children are staring into her face. Kashi had wanted to sell his buffalo to pay for his wife's medical care. So Kashi had come to Tansuk and asked to sell his buffalo to pay for his wife's medical care. He had often said to me, Tansuk, get my animal sold, friend. My wife's treatment depends solely on this. So Kashi had wanted Tansuk to get his buffalo sold. The doctors have advised surgery and I don't have a single paise with me. So surgery is an expensive procedure and Kashi did not have a single paise with him. You're a broker, just get this little bit down for me. You can even take your commission, friend. So Kashi has offered Tansuk commission on the deal. Even that wasn't too bad, but the name brought yet another picture to my mind, that of Kashi's sick buffalo. She had had 4 miscarriages. Miscarriage is when the animal gives birth to dead offspring. So she had had 4 miscarriages. The buffalo of Kashi Regas was sick. The vet had treated her, but he had warned that another miscarriage could surely kill her. So, another miscarriage, the veterinary surgeon had said, would surely kill Kashi's buffalo. I was greatly distressed. So now Tansuk is in a fix because he wanted to do a good deed, but now he is helpless. I could not say a word, but just kept brooding. After a long while, the old man broke the silence. So what are you thinking? Have you decided to overlook my request? No, I haven't. Did you say Kashi's buffalo? Yes, what makes you look so worried? Is there a defect in the animal? Don't get me into trouble. I'm a poor man. I need it for my son. So the old man wants a buffalo for his son. So he asked Tansuk not to get him into trouble, that is, not to make him buy a sick animal because he was a poor man, he could not afford to spend a lot of money. For your son, the old man says, yes, my son is sick. He was in hospital for 2 long years and was discharged just yesterday. The doctor says he should drink milk, so I thought I should buy a buffalo. It would be a source of income for the family as well as nourishment for the boy. So the buffalo which the old man wants to buy would give milk for his son to make him healthier, recover from his illness of 2 years, and at the same time the old man could sell the buffalo's milk and make and have an income. Oh, says Tansuk. Yes, Tansuk, please see that I'm not ruined. Don't add to my woes. So the old man finally pleads with Tansuk to see that he's not cheated, and he asked Tansuk not to add to his sorrows. I heaved a sigh and sat motionless. So Tansuk is helpless. He sits motionless in shock. The sky seemed to be whirling around me. So he becomes dizzy with the emotions he's feeling. My heart shuddered. So his heart starts palpitating, and he shudders, trembles. Never had I been trapped like this in my 20 long years as a broker. With a single stroke, the old man had invoked the punishment for my sins. So this helplessness, this remorse, this sorrow that Tansuk feels is a punishment for his sins. In a single stroke, the old man had brought about the punishment for his sins, that is to make Tansuk feel remorse. There stood before me two hungry figures with their arms stretched out, two diseased bodies breathing their last. The two hungry figures, one is Kashi Rega's wife, the other is old man's sons, and both are at the end of their life. So that's what Tansuk imagines. Who shall I not save? Who should I cheat, Kashi or the old man? If he makes the old man buy Tansuk's buffalo, the old man will be cheated, but he'll save Kashi. But if he sells the buffalo to the old man will be cheated, and his son and he himself will breathe their last. These questions stared at me, taunted me. Who should I say? What should I say to the old man? Yes or no? A yes would mean the murder of the old man, and no would mean the end of Kashi. Tansukji, shall we go to Kashi's house? The old man said again. I am not a broker, the old man, I heard myself shriek. So Tansuk finally loses control himself, and he screams out that he's not a broker. Do whatever you want. I saw the old man rise with the support of his stick and hobble out. Hobble means he walks unsteadily out on trembling feet. I sat on my charpai. Finally, I lay down again and looked at the ceiling as I'd done earlier. The sparrows were quarreling as always. So the sparrows, the noise of the sparrows symbolizes the noise in Tansuk's mind, and that's how the story ends. So this is the way that a broker is, goes through his deals. So this is the story of the broker by Swaroop Kishan, which we had for second view in the year 2006-2007. Thank you.